Hello friends, I am from Biology faculty of QLS Academy. Today we are going to learn about fundamental unit of life. I am sure you will all enjoy today's learning. Let's start with our lesson of today. By the end of this lesson, we will learn what is a cell, discovery of a cell, what are living beings made up of, unicellular versus multicellular organisms. Let's start with our chapter Fundamental Unit of Life. But before we go any further, first we have to understand what is the meaning of the word fundamental. Suppose हमें एक घर बनाना है तो शुरुआत हम किससे करेंगे? शुरुआत हम एक ईंट से करेंगे. बहुत सारी ईंट एक दीवार बनाएंगे, 4 दीवार मिलकर एक रूम बनाएंगे और बहुत सारे रूम एक घर बनाएंगे. Similarly, that concept applies to our own body. The fundamental unit of our body is a cell. Number of cells make up a tissue just like wall made up of bricks. And number of tissues comprises of an organ. Finally, number of organs make up a human body. Now let's talk about discovery of a cell. किसी ना किसी के दिमाग में ये बात तो ज़रूर आई होगी कि इतना छोटा सेल आखिर देखा किसने होगा. In 1665, Robert Hooke, an English scientist, looked at a thin slice of cork from the bark of a tree. He observed many tiny hollow room-like structures जो बिल्कुल एक मधुमक्खी की छत्ते की तरह दिख रहा था. He called these structures as cell. Now you might wonder, why did he call them only cell but nothing else? It is because cell is a Latin word for a small room. To us, this might be a very small incident, but the discovery of a cell opened the door for the whole world of science that we are now part of. Now let's talk about what are living beings made up of. To understand this question, let's perform a simple activity. Take an onion bulb. With the help of a forceps, peel off the skin from the inner side of the onion. Immediately, put the peel on a watch glass containing water so that it does not dry off. Carefully transfer the peel from the watch glass to a glass slide with the help of a brush. Now, add a drop of saffron in solution to the peel and cover it with a cover slip. At last, we observe the glass slide under a microscope. Now, we must ask ourselves the following questions. Number 1. What do we observe under the microscope? Number 2. What does the structure looks like? Number 3. Can we draw these structures? Now, let's try to answer these questions one by one. What are these structures? We observe that the structures are all similar to each other. From this activity, we also conclude that the onions of different sizes all have similar small structures. These small structures are the building units of the onion bulb. These structures are actually cells. In fact, all organisms are made up of basic building units called as cell. As a child, we all love to play with a magnifying glass. The invention of a magnifying glass led to the discovery of a whole microscopic world. Because of this, it is now known that a single cell can constitute a whole organism. To us, it is surprising to know that a single cell can constitute an organism, right? Such organisms are actually called as unicellular organisms. The meaning of unicellular can be determined by understanding the prefix, that is uni, which means single. Now let's look at the examples of some unicellular organism. First is an example of amoeba. Amoeba is a unicellular organism which has only one cell. This is how an amoeba looks like. Amoeba doesn't have any fixed shape. Its shape keeps changing. Now, we must ask ourselves, where does we find amoeba? Amoeba is generally found in the marine, where a single cell can perform all the functions like ingestion of food, digestion of food, and excretion of food. Next example of unicellular organism is paramecium. This is how a paramecium looks like. They are generally found in fresh water or a marine region. They are covered with a hair-like structure called as cilia. Next example is Chlamydomonas. It is a tough word, right? So we break the word Chlamydomonas into Chlamydomonas. This is how a Chlamydomonas looks like. It is generally found in stagnant water, meaning motionless water, in damp soil, in fresh water, in seawater, and even in snow as snow algae. Now look around you, look at yourself, look at your friends. Do you think that you and your friend and everyone are made up of a single cell? The answer is obviously no. Plants and animals, including us, are all multicellular organisms. The meaning of the word multicellular can be determined by understanding the prefix multi, which means many. Thus, we are all made up of billions and billions of cells. In multicellular organisms like us, there is division of layer. Now, what is division of layer? Let's understand this in respect to our own body. We have heart to pump blood, lungs to breathe, eyes to see and nose to smell. This is actually called as division of labor. We cannot have heart to breathe, lungs to pump blood because there are specialized cells which perform their specialized functions. This also tells us that our body is made up of many different kinds of cells. We have blood cells, nerve cells, bone cells, muscle cells, etc. Each kind of these cells perform their different functions. The function of red cell will be different from the function of nerve cells. Similarly, the function of bone cells will be different from epithelial cells. Each cell have different performing units called organelles. Each organelle performs different functions within a cell, about which we will learn in next lesson. So, to conclude this lesson, we learned about what is a cell, discovery of a cell, what are living beings made up of, unicellular versus multicellular organisms. In the next lesson, we will learn about the structure of a cell. Hope you enjoyed today's learning. For any further information or you have any query, kindly go to the following link.